Developing tonight, Governor Newsom says he's considering running for president in 2028. It's the first time we're hearing the governor speak directly about the subject. He's made his comments during an interview with CBS Sunday morning.
I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Governor, you have long said that if you ever run for the White House, you need a compelling why, a reason. Are you moving closer to figuring out your own why and your own decision?
Yeah, Nietzsche said, if you have a compelling why, you can endure any how. And so I think the biggest challenge for anyone who runs for any office is people see right through you if you don't have that why. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, look, well, that faith will determine that.
Well, for more on this, LA Times writer Seema Mehta joins us now live. How many times, Seema, have you asked him that question? Are you running for president?
I can't even count the number of times. But I mean, quite frankly, I'm interested that he finally said it out loud, but this has been like the worst kept secret in Sacramento and California that he, was thinking about running for governor, honestly.
For running for president, indeed. So when we ask this question, why now? Does it have anything to do with Kamala Harris and what she said yesterday?
Well, I mean, I think he has an opening now because, President Biden, he was a big supporter of President Biden, and as were many Democrats. And then once President Biden decided not to run for re-election because of, all of the issues, and, the then Vice President Kamala Harris, became the nominee, I mean, he didn't really have much of a choice then. I mean, it was, Democratic insiders, Democratic activists, Democratic donors very quickly lined up behind Kamala Harris. But now, next 2028, it's a wide open field. And I really think it's interesting because the two of them have such a long-standing relationship. I mean, they grew up in San Francisco politics together. They have not only the same donors and the same, sort of benefactors, but the same friends. And they were friends. Like, they would travel together. So they've always had this friendship / kind of rivalry. Like, if you remember when Senator Boxer decided to retire to not run for re-election, I believe in 2016, there was a big question of, would Newsom run for that seat or would Kamala run, or, would the AG run for that seat? And, Kamala Harris ultimately ran for the seat and won it, and Newsom ran for governor, 2 years later in 2018 and won it. But they've always had this sort of interesting parallel career.
I actually saw some headline that suggested the two could run. It didn't suggest who would be the lead on the ticket. That sort of goes against a lot of political strategy, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could both run. I mean, like I think it's happened before. I mean, I need to look at my history on that. But I mean, I think the question is, how do they play in, Midwestern states, in states like South Carolina, which as of now will be holding the first Democratic primary. We don't know what's going to happen, with the process the next couple of years. The former vice president obviously unsuccessfully ran for election in 2020. She, dropped out before the Iowa caucuses. And then, she was thrust into the presidential election in 2024 in a very, very short runway, which she describes in her recent book, which she will be discussing again at the Wiltern on this week. So she's had a couple of runs. So I think that's one thing that people are going to look at. But then I also think people will look at how Governor Newsom would play in Midwestern states. I mean, there is this cliche stereotype about Californians, like Chardonnay sipping liberals in hot tubs and whatever. But I do wonder how he will play in Midwestern states, like, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin.
Or how his trolling of President Trump will...
That has been really interesting.
Right?
It has been... I don't entirely know what to make of it. I found it amusing, but I also wonder how. Also, I wonder again for the regular voter who's like, driving their kids to school and just trying to put dinner on the table and, earn their paycheck. How much are they paying attention to this stuff? Like, this is stuff that political insiders like you and I, pay attention to. But I do wonder how because it's gone on for quite some time. I wonder how that plays among Democrats who, if you remember Michelle Obama saying, they go low, we go high, how it plays among those voters. But also the they go low, we go high in terms of Democrats has changed a little bit. We can see that with Proposition 50, with the redistricting measure that voters will be deciding, less than 10 days from now.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens after the midterms, whether he solidifies his run for the White House. Seema Mehta, thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.